And welcome to the Loveland Report and the Loner Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland along with Bruce Woodburn. We deliver all your real estate and mortgage news. I've been selling real estate in Central Florida for well over 30 years. Bruce has been, I think your first mortgage was carved on the tablets, right? Just like the Ten Commandments. Yep. And we are giving you what is going on. Where are the interest rates? Is this blazing hot market cooling down to a small campfire? Is it going to continue surging? Is it going to be doused by a big bubble and have water pour all over it? Which will cool it down. But no, I think this inventory right now, Bruce, Central Florida's inventory, that report I go over every month, yes, as we do, not doom and gloom and what's happening. I'll give you the real numbers and what's going on, just like I will sitting at your kitchen table talking about your own personal real estate. The numbers for Central Florida, the inventory's holding steady at about just under a 1 month supply. Let's call it a 3-week supply of homes. Anything under 6 months supply is a seller's market where prices will slowly rise. And right now, we've still got slow rise in prices. You know, prices are still going up. I'm getting multiple offers, but as compared to the first and second quarter of the year, I'm getting 1/3 of the offers I used to, so still a hot market, but homes still have to be marketed right, staged right. I help several sellers that listen to this show. They called me going, hey, we should have called you first. They had not sold, and I go in there, and it's just a couple fixes, a couple dollars spent. I actually raised the price on a couple of them, and they went. It's not all about price. It's about having an experienced marketer help you get your house on the market.
So, you know what? It's interesting you say that because I'm still seeing houses going up slightly. Not as fast and as sharply as they were. But I was reading Aura's report, which is the Orlando Regional Realtors Association report, and it said that from August to September, that houses have dropped in price by, you know how much?
0.02%.
$2,000. So they went from $320 to $318. So I looked at that and I went, wow, this is the news that people want to hear.
Well, $5 million.
The housing market is crashing. Yeah. The prices are dropping in price.
Well, that's because one $5 million home didn't sell that much in the numbers.
I don't know what that statistic came from, but when I saw $2,000, and I went, you know what, though? Here's the way I look at that, Cleve. That is not bad news. That is not bad news. That's not doom and gloom. We see corrections like that every day. That's like saying, well, the stock dropped from Google from 3,000 to 2,800. Big deal.
Yeah, you're holding it for the long term. Hopefully you are. But this market we're in it's going to keep going steadily. Now, here's something else, Bruce, I get. You always got to remember, if you hear real estate news, what are they talking about? They're talking about the local market. That would be us. I'll tell you about the national market or the Florida market. This is national news talking about how there's fewer homes for sale and listing inventory dropped again. And so there's less sales than last year in September.
Because there's less houses available.
There's less houses to sell. People kind of waiting. Some people are waiting. And as a buyer, you don't have to panic.
No.
But our buyers get in the car and get a good education. Let's say they're buying at $350. Well, I tell them, I said, we need to look at everything, obviously under $350, but most likely your sweet spot's going to be around $320, $330, where we're going to go 5, 10, 15 over list price. Kind of depends on what you think of it, if it really tickles your fancy or if we think it's really a great buy. And that's where people are looking right now. But people are not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars over list price.
No.
And then
not unless you're buying a $2 million house.
Waiving inspections and putting up non-refundable deposits. So
I do hear about a lot of that happening in other parts of the country, but I'm not seeing a lot of that now. I am seeing like acceleration clauses or somebody might say, I'll agree to pay up to $10,000 over appraised value.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not seeing a lot of waiving inspections. Very rarely.
Yeah.
Are you seeing much of that?
No. Well, what I've seen is short inspections. And here's the thing, an escalation clause like you talked about, I look at the buyer's first offer, because I have them come in at list price and they say, well, we'll go up this high. But I like the buyer that said right up front, hey, I'll go $10,000 over list when I'm looking at those offers I've got on the house. Now, and I might give them a chance to match it, but then I'm looking at the financing. Are they fast tracked? Do they have a house to sell? I believe it or not, I had a realtor send me something. They sent me an offer, and the buyer's house was not under contract yet. It was not even listed yet.
Oh, and it was a contingency.
And they said, well, we'll sell it. It'll sell no problem in this market. I said, your cart's way out in front of your horse.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's what's important about having a good realtor help you. But I want to ask you, Bruce, stock market's been great for the month of October.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did the interest rates do?
Well, interest rates actually in the last 3 weeks have popped up about between 160 and 200 basis points, they've gone up. So what happens, though, you have to remember that the bond market, which is what mortgage rates are tied to, generally works as a teeter-totter from equities or stocks, right? So when our stocks are doing really well, that means mortgage rates are likely going to get worse. In a typical scenario. They don't always work that way, but typically if I see the stock market is doing well, I can expect that interest rates are going to go the opposite direction. And that's exactly what happened. Now, this week wasn't too bad. We had some good days in the market, but you have to remember we lost 200 basis points in the last 3 weeks. And that's what does that equate to? That's 2 points that it costs you from what rates were 2 weeks ago. So in other words, let's just say that 2.99 was at 0 points 3 weeks ago. We'll use that as an example. Today, 2.99 would cost you 2 points.
So instead, we take a rate of probably around 3 1/8, 3
So you go to 3 1/8, 3 1/4, and that's really where rates are trending. I'm even seeing them push up to 3.625, depending on credit score. So be cautious. You know, credit score is what dictates your rate.
Well,
the lender doesn't dictate your rate.
And that's why I hear the bait and switch all the time. They'll get from pressing a button online.
Oh, my gosh.
And they'll get the bait and switch. I don't take online lenders for my contracts.
I see it all the time. I'll have a client go, oh, I just got quoted this online company. It quoted me 2.875. And I pull them up and I'm like, dude, you have a Fannie Mae risk-based pricing adjustment of 1.75. There's no possible way that's going to happen. But what happens is people are attracted to what sounds the best.
Shiny.
It's just like a realtor saying that, hey, I can get $50,000 more for your house than Cleve. Well, they can say that.
Yeah.
And they can put it on the market for that, but it doesn't really mean they're going to get it. And it's the same thing with an interest rate. And people will call me Cleve and they'll go, well, they can't do that. They can't quote me a rate and change it. Oh, yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Oh, yeah.
You can change it. Absolutely, they can do that. And they do that. That's why you want to choose somebody to help you with your mortgage that's got a long standing in the area. Matter of fact, Cleve, I'd like to give out our numbers. You can reach me at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144. Or go directly to my website, the easiest online application ever at WeBringYouHome.com. That's WeBringYouHome.com. Cleve, what's your
407-352-8118 or CleveLoveland.com or LovelandReport.com, 352-8118. Now, Bruce, I get a bunch of emails every week, and they're asking me sometimes, we'll get into it, and I found a gentleman, sadly, just got divorced, and there was a bunch of equity in the home, or he's getting divorced, and I said, well, don't sell the home, refi it, get some equity out. But I talk to people all the time when I get these email questions, and it's not always best to sell the house, or it's not always best to refinance right then. You'll tell them.
But it's best to examine your options.
Yeah, let them know.
Right?
So
some people they should sell, and some people you absolutely should not sell.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no one size fits all.
But you'll let somebody know on refinancing. A lot of people, like you talk about, like 80% of the people out there need to and haven't.
Right.
Like you'll let them know should they or should they not.
If it's not the right thing to do, if it doesn't save you money,
pay off a bunch of debt,
or solve a problem, then don't do it. But I'm seeing people get sucked into these commercials that are I'm getting bombarded by I get phone calls from mortgage companies telling me they can refinance me and save me money.
And the letters in your mailbox and the text messages,
And listen, don't get sucked into that stuff. Go with somebody that's tried and true and tested. Check my Google reviews, 4.5. My Zillow reviews, 5.0.
Yep.
So you want somebody you can count on. Choose somebody that might be the right one to say, you know what, John, I don't think refinancing is the right thing for you to do. Let's just stick with what you have and throw an extra $150 a month at your mortgage.
Yep.
That might be my answer.
Bruce, I had this article come out of the Florida Realtor magazine, and it talks about programs for homeownership assistance, because you don't need 20% down. I think most people listening to the show know that. As a buyer, you don't have to have 20% down.
No.
Investment property, you don't have to have 20% down either if you listen to our wealth seminar.
Yes.
And we'll let you know about the next time one of those is coming up. But what kind of programs do you have? Like, what can people get into a house for?
Well, let's start with the lowest down payment option, which is 0 down payment. Now, if you're a veteran and you're qualified and you served your time as in active duty for 4 years or Reserve or National Guard for 6 years, and you're eligible, then you're no down payment. You have no down payment. The only other zero down payment loan that's a good loan, there's some trickery out there. Okay, there's some trickery loans out there that will be like the old Nehemiah programs where it's like, you can get these down payment assistance to bring you to 100%, but your rate's going to be 6 3/4.
Yeah, okay.
So, but aside from those things, so don't get sucked into things that sound too good to be true. However, your next zero down payment is USDA, and it's a great loan.
Yep.
It's not designed and not really for the credit challenged person, because you got to have decent credit to get it. But the mortgage insurance is almost nothing. It's very small, and it's 100% financing. And if it appraises for over purchase price, you can add closing costs into the mortgage. And it's the only type of loan you can do that on a purchase.
Okay.
Refinances, we can do that.
Well, that's good. That sounds good.
Your next low down payment would be conventional 3% down. Another loan that's designed for people that have decent credit, low debt ratios. But here's the thing, Cleve, you get a reduced interest rate and reduced mortgage insurance, and you're only putting 3% down.
That's really good.
And then for those that are more credit challenged or have high ratios but have good credit, have high debt ratios, FHA, love an FHA loan. I get so many people into homes with FHA that never thought they could buy. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't have a credit score requirement on FHA. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chase, my son, closed one with a 511. I told him it would never happen. And the dude, just to prove me wrong, like I'm telling you, it took a few years out of the boy. Okay. It was not an easy loan, but he closed a 511. I don't think I've ever closed a 511.
I've never heard of that.
I've never. And then he closed a 561, and I'm like, dude, where are you finding these people?
Was this guy in witness relocation? He assumed the identity of something, had a 500 credit score?
I don't.
Good God.
I got to tell you something. So here's the thing. I'm not saying that everybody that's, and by the way, if you're below 580, you have to put 10% down. That's the guidelines.
Yep.
You have to put 10% down.
But the thing is to know these rules. The thing is to call somebody that will help you go through these rules.
My team is highly trained for that. Just call me at 407-250-9144, 407-250-9144, or WeBringYouHome.com. That's my cell number. You can call me right there. You can reach Cleve at 407-352-8118. That's 407-352-8118. We'll get you fixed up. And here's what we're talking about. Remember, the last few weeks we were doing, we will have you into a house by Thanksgiving.
The turkey transaction.
Okay, so now we're at the end of December. We're at the end of October. It's October 30th today, right? Yep. It's a beautiful Saturday.
Yep.
Now I say, why don't we get you into a home before New Year's? I can do that. I can get you into a home before New Year's. And listen, you got to think about this. We have the month of November and the month of December with a load of holidays in there.
Yep.
I can still get you into a home, no problem, by New Year's.
Well, everybody should own one. And if you think about that new one, I can get you into your new one. We can leapfrog you out of your old house. I can get that managed for you as an investment property, make you some money, take over your wealth, show you how to build a portfolio of rental properties, and we can rent the old house. You know the history on it. You know it's good. You got a mortgage that's already starting to be paid down. It's at a good rate. It's not a rental, because investment properties rates are in the 4s, right? Not in the 3s.
Yep.
So we can help you with that, but now's a great time to shop.
And
These
even
home
if you
prices
don't
are not
own a
going
home,
down. Yeah.
Like if you're a first-time home buyer, you and I we love helping first-time home buyers.
Great.
Yeah, we got about 15, 20 seconds left in this segment. When we come back from the next break, first of all, we didn't finish about the houses that are on the market because there's information from builders that I want to share in the next segment. And then the next thing that I want to talk about in the next segment is who the sponsor of the K92-3 All-Star Jam is. I think it's coming up on December 10th. I want to talk about that when we come back. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Cleve, Loveland, and the Lone Ranger Radio, or the Loveland Report.